really good things, and then we did some things that hurt us, especially in the second half. Really, in big picture, I thought we played a pretty good first half offensively, and then we didn't execute quite as well in the second half. Early in the first half, we ran the ball several times pretty well, and we hit some big plays. And in the second half, we just didn't do much of anything. So we've got to get better, and the players are working hard and diligent, and they're preparing hard for the New York Jets. So we'll get to the Jets. These guys are excellent scheme, excellent personnel. They lost one of their safeties. And it appears on film that he was directing much of it back there. They've got two of the very best corners that you'll see in this league. Tandem-wise, they may be the very best. Schematically, they base out of a three down with 4 linebackers, and they play an awful lot of sub-defense. So we'll certainly see that. They have an unusual high amount of personnel groups, and they try to confuse their opponent that way, and they do a good job that way. We'll open up to questions.
Why do you think consistency has been such a problem here? I mean, you had 24 points in like less than 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 50 seconds, and then nothing else. Yeah,
you're right. I sure would like a game to go a little bit more consistent than that. Football games do go that way sometimes, but you're right. I would certainly want to see more consistency, because we certainly had some opportunities, and we just didn't take advantage of it. And some of that you do give credit to the Dolphins there. The Dolphins good, very good defense, So I was proud of what we did in the first half, and we've got to get better than we played there in the second half.
Marty, and how they play, how does Rex's defense differ from Rob Ryan's?
Rob and Rex, well, and Miami, Baltimore, Connect, all that stuff. So all three are very similar in structure. However, every individual that runs it goes his own way just a little bit. Due to personnel, due to just their own philosophy, but it's all based out of the same thing. So very similar. They each do quite a few different things than each other as well, within the same sort of schematic base, I would say. Yeah.
Is Mike going to practice today, Mike Vick?
Well, he went through walkthrough, and I'd expect him to practice unless something changes here.
Do you expect him to play? I mean, you expect him to practice and play and everything?
Yeah, I expect him to play. I expect him to play about 4 weeks ago too, so you can take that for what it's worth. I always expect them to play. Our players do everything they can do, mentally, physically, preparation-wise, to where they're going to play the next ball game. And that way, if they're ready, they're prepared. And if they're not, it's good for them for the next week anyways. So. Where are we at here?
Pinpoint the McCoy's 38 yards and 27 carries. What the issue was there? Was it a combination of the blocking and maybe him not hitting some of the holes?
Yeah, you're right there. Looked at all that closely.
How about with Mike getting hit a decent amount? It seems that when Vince was in there and he wasn't getting hit quite as much, so is that just a matter of style of play, the offensive line doing something different?
A combination of things. Mike's style is a little bit different there. Yeah, sure. That's certainly part of it. Excuse me there. But it's going to be the death of me, Get him protecting himself just a little bit better. He plays with a style where he takes a lot of hits. And I do think he's gotten better, but not nearly as good as he needs to be for, first of all, for the best interest of the team, and secondly, for the best interest of him, so he's working on that.
Is it realistic, though? I mean, it's not just Michael Vick, Cole McCoy. I mean, you can go down the list. Is it realistic in the NFL to think that you're going to keep a quarterback out of that peril for a season?
Well, that's a good point, and there's several things that come to mind there. The style of football that your offensive team plays, the style of football that your quarterback has, the amount of times that you take a calculated risk, and you have to do that in this league. You've got to take some of those, or you're just not going to have much offense at all with the way defenses are playing, especially nowadays. And so you take all of that into account. Certainly some styles of offense are a little bit better, okay, to keep hits. Some styles of quarterback play a little bit different. I'll give you, for instance, a running team. You know, their quarterback doesn't take as many hits, but typically those teams there's always exceptions, may not score quite as many points. You know, they shorten the game doing that typically. Not always, but usually.
Rex Ryan said that yesterday that LaShawn McCoy has been embarrassing people in the sense of the way he can get out of, it looks like he's going to be tackled and he can break free. Has he exceeded your expectations, or when he came in here, when he was drafted, you say this guy can be what he is today?
Oh, I really didn't put the thought much into that. I do remember him coming out, and he came out with an awful lot of very good backs. And I liked them all very much, but I remember I liked him the best for us. And I just thought he was dynamic. His change of direction, the way he catches the football, the way he makes people miss, these sort of things. I thought he was just a dynamic type player. So, yeah, I didn't put much thought into what he could be. I just, so it certainly doesn't surprise me that he's had this type of year and this type of career so far.
Mike's had a lot of tipped balls turned into interceptions, but he still has 12, which matches his touchdowns. Is this getting frustrating? I mean, it seems like, obviously every week there's a turnover, and you guys are trying to limit that, and that's holding back your offense a little bit. How are you working with that with him?
Well, we don't get frustrated. If there's a problem, first of all, you got to admit it. Otherwise, you can't fix it. You admit it, and you find the solution, you correct it, and you move on as fast as you can. And things happen quick here, So that's how we go about our business. So if you get frustrated at something, it does absolutely no good. In fact, it's probably counterproductive because you're working on correcting the problem. And so, look, it's a little bit cyclic there. Some quarterbacks have, there's big guys that have a tendency to get balls tipped. There's shorter guys who rarely get the ball tipped. So it goes, throwing in lanes for a quarterback, sliding or moving or pushing an angle to get the football, get it out on time. Because some of these down linemen, they're getting so good nowadays. Man, they'll read as they're pass rushing, they'll feel that quarterback. That quarterback pulls up, man, and they can't get there. And if you're not right on time, and they're timing that thing up and jumping and trying to get some tips, hands down. And they come in all different screens. We've had more than a couple of screens that have been tipped. Now that's a quarterback's responsibility there. And so, and it has been cumulative this year. It's not coming from one sort of thing. There's been times in the past where we've had 3 balls tipped in a game, and it all came from one thing. Excuse me again. You get that thing fixed real quick. So we're working hard at that.
Is there anything outside of just practicing at a fast tempo and trying to simulate a real game in practice that you can do to work on not turning the ball over or forcing throws? Is some of that also classroom that's not happening right there, or is it again?
Well, sure. We had one last week, and it was just those just can't happen. Offensively, we had one. Yeah, and we overcame a lot of things. We overcame a block punt early. We had an interception at one point there. So, and then the punt return thing. So we're taking some calculated risks on a couple of those things. But so we overcame a lot. I was proud of the fellas overcoming it. But you're talking about turnovers. Typically, with my experience, you emphasize it, you drill it. those specific reasons that are happening. You drill those type of things as an individual, as a group, and as a unit. You put a big emphasis on it, like I said, and then these guys are proud men. You know, they're proud football players, and they want to take care of the football, and usually you get results, and the results have been fair so far. So we're doing everything we can as far as working on that and preparing. And now, getting back to my main point, there has been some unusual ones, some that happen once in a blue moon, once every 3 or 4 years, and when those types occur, you just, you know, it happens once every blue moon, let's move on. Well, a whole host of those happen to us, especially early in the year. So I certainly put an awful lot of thought into that, but it was one of those years up to date that way.
Last year had 25, led the league. Now he's an MVP candidate. You don't feel like, you just feel like Mike's snake bitten a little bit.
Mike in his past history, and last year, and with us, he's typically done a good job taking care of the ball. Where I get a little emphasis almost every week, and again, it depends on the pass rushers, is his ball security in the pocket, only because of his past history that I've studied. But passing the ball in his past and with us up till this year, he has done a nice job of that. And I haven't studied Eli as far as that specific thing, so I can't correlate that.
Marty, is it possible to defend Deshaun Jackson one-on-one, even with a talent like Revis?
Well, I'll tell you, look, Deshaun is a dynamite player. He's dynamic. He's very difficult to cover one-on-one. I'm thinking back here. I think these two guys are great corners that we're going to be facing. Deion Sanders was one guy that could cover just about anybody one-on-one. And these guys are very, very good. I mean, they're in that category. So got great confidence in Deshaun, though.
Has it ever happened with Deshaun? Has he ever been locked up one-on-one for an entire game?
Oh, for an entire game? One-on-one? Oh, no.